Hey, everybody, welcome back to Android App Addicts, episode 545. This is the show where guys other than me usually talk about Android apps, Android hardware, whatever else happens to cross our minds. My name is Mark, on very rare occasions known to host this show, and I'm joined this week by the DoorToDoorGeek, Steve McLaughlin, and the guy formerly in the tub, Josh. Sorry, I don't know your last name. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Mark. No worries. My last name is Dennis, but that's
Right.
irrelevant. That's
I
irrelevant.
write that down. I knew that. Door, how are things with you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just think of him as a menace. Just saying, we're old, Mark.
And the New Zealandite, as he would say it, the sexiest accent on the planet, Ivor Davies, is not with us tonight for reasons that weren't made known to me because it's none of my business. So but it's the law of conservation of hosts. He's gone. I'm back. So we still have 3 hosts. So all is well that podcasts well. How are things? I've been gone. I think this is a month. I think it was actually the first week of July that I was last year. No, we didn't do, because that was the 4th. Yeah, so it's even farther away. I had July 4th was holiday for us American type people. July 11th was my wife's birthday. The next week, sadly, I had to attend a funeral. And then last week,
Your
I had
friend.
friends come into town unexpectedly from Texas, and so I had to play host to them. And so, yeah, clearly everything is more important to me than you.
Well, family and friends always come before podcasting, number one. Number two, I'd much rather have you well rested and non-distracted. 2, 3, it's a summertime. We're not corporate shills sitting here pitching stuff to everybody and trying to absorb money from everybody from every angle. So,
Wait, we're not? I was in
No.
this to get rich.
Winning the lottery.
Clearly, I've misread what the situation is. I just kept waiting for the giant royalty checks to roll in.
Well, I won't say it won't happen.
Okay.
I'm just begging you to not hold your breath because I like you.
What did I miss while I was gone? Anything interesting?
Ah, man, the Huawei thing, up and down, left and right, backwards and forwards. The most hysterical part is almost like, dare I say, sorry if I'm triggering anyone, almost like the Paris Climate Accord, how that becomes incredibly misreported as Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord. Why don't somebody go read the Paris Climate Accord? It's literally only like 20 pages long. We can't just get out of it. We can just show our intent for the next available opportunity to get out, which is literally 3 months after the next election of the president, kind of thing. So we're not out of Paris Accord because we can't be. The bans on Huawei actually haven't even begun yet. They're not even going to happen. I believe it was until October. But this past year, past quarter, Huawei posted its highest quarter sales in the history of their company. So keep the bans, keep the tariffs, keep them in the news. It must be really good for business.
Yeah, clearly it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah. The other like kind of newsworthy thing I'll say, Mark, that I thought would at least get your attention is at least on this show, I'll say we have advocated more often than not for sensible pricing of phones and devices. We don't try to glamorize or glorize or like shame people into thinking that they have to buy better phones. And Google released basically some information making at least me believe that the true end of the premier flagship $1,000 phone might be coming to an end. Google has their Pixel series. They had the 3 that was at least 8 months ago released, and they just released the 3A, which is basically a cheaper version of their Pixel device. They sold, I want to say it was literally like 4 times the amount of devices in like a third the amount of time. So Google now is like under the impression or the belief that it is impossible to sell a high-end device and make any kind of sales numbers. So expect future Pixel devices, maybe not the 4, but expect future Pixel devices after that to be much more reasonably priced.
I wonder though, and I've asked this before, what is a reasonable price for this hardware? What does it really cost if we were? I mean, we're essentially profiting from starvation wage people in other countries. I mean, what does this phone really cost if we actually supported people in a reasonable, socially conscious way?
Well, I'll say let's think of the inverse. Let's think about our glorified first world lifestyle, even in Canada. What do you think is a reasonable amount of money to pay a month for a higher device? Like hypothetically, if you had your laptop, what do you think it's worth to you every month? And then think of the lifespan of that device, and think, are you getting your money's worth? That's the way I like to think of it. So with a phone, let's just say 24 months is like the average kind of life cycle kind of thing. Does that seem fair?
I don't know.
Because if it is for a $500 phone, you're paying just about $20 a month. I can see $10 to $15 a month being a reasonable amount to pay for a usable device in a month's time span. And I really do intend to use my phone for 2 years, so that would be $360. And I'm very comfortable paying about $400 for a phone.
So I'm running into a situation right now. So I've mentioned it before. My beloved Moto 360 is reaching end of life. The battery no longer. I get 8 to 10 hours out of it if I'm lucky, and you can't really replace it. I've looked into it, and honestly, it's just not. It's not the kind of thing I want to pour my time and effort into. Plus, it's already scratched up, and it's just showing the use of 6 years of 5 years of wear. And so I paid $300 for this watch, 350, maybe we'll call it 400 because I don't remember. And I bought it early on, so they were super expensive. We'll say 400 in 5 years. So that is, $75 ish a year. Call it $6 a month.
667, yeah.
Yeah. So
Fair.
I've been, at one point you look at it that way, $6 a month to have a smartwatch. That doesn't seem unreasonable, but on the other hand, I don't want to go out and spend, more money on something that I know is just going to crap out in a few years. Even the most pristine, highest quality devices, they just wear out. SD cards wear out, batteries wear out, and the best lifespan you can get out of a small device like this is 3 to 5 years. Actually, 5 years I've had a good run with this watch. But it's one of those things where when you break it down into the per month, like you just did, it seems reasonable. But on the other hand, I'm not willing to pay 6 months for CBS All Access. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure where that $6 a month actually comes down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I've been trying to think of that. Think of all these digital purchases that I'm buying. Let's not think of the big number. Let's think of expected lifespan. And then like how much per month, because literally everything it seems like in the universe is becoming a subscription service in one way, shape, or form. So I just try to like make my phone seem like that is what I'm going to say. I think I'm not a fan of the watches. I've had like 3 or 4 of them. I could see spending $6 a month for, the instant on wrist notification and alerts and stuff like that. And it being a fair price, a very fair price, in fact.
Yeah, I've heard, I guess I've listened to too many social justice warriors talking about how, we should be paying more for things so that we can elevate these people in third world countries and whatever. And it just makes me wonder the Pixel 4 at $400, smells about right to me, but that's because we're, 12 years into the smartphone market. The original iPhone cost $1,000. And probably because it needed to be, because we hadn't been manufacturing those chips for decades, and we hadn't made literally millions of them. The cost goes down with quantity. So now probably $400 is a fair price for us, and they're making a fair profit on it. But it took that long to get here.
Well, I'll ask, what kind of drugs are these people smoking? Do they okay? Because the example is world hunger has been solved for 30 years, except we still have people going hungry. It has nothing to do with how much we're paying for food or the amount of food that's available. It has to do with local tyrannical governments and regimes, basically holding the food ransom and keeping it all for themselves, kind of things. What makes them think that if we all pay more for the phones, that everything is going to trickle down to the lowest of the lowest kind of employee? They literally are on drugs if they think that's going to happen. That's not how anything works. That's not how the world works.
Where else? What other Android podcasts are you going to get this kind of commentary?
Well, I mean, it's a great ideal. It's a great idea, but that's just not how anything works. It's like the wealth tax. If you think you can tax all the rich people and you're actually going to get all the money from the rich people, you are on a very high level of medication. Rich people will happily pay virtually as much as the tax will cost to get out of the tax, because it's a spite kind of thing. Trust me, I know. I just spent multiple thousands of dollars to a very nice guy so he could help me fix my tax issue, because I will much rather give him my money than have my money go to the federal government. And that's just the truth. And I'm not special. I mean, my mama called me special, but that's how people think. They'll much rather give the money to somebody that they know versus a blob of an entity of a government that seems utterly wasteful.
What does our resident Canadian think about all this?
Do they have taxes in Canada?
They got to pay for all that free healthcare.
Canada is more of a than a half world country, and I'm having some issues with my video right now, so I apologize for that. I'll get back to you on that.
Fixed.
That's some clicking there.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, the reason I don't go to Walmart is because I'm okay with paying a little bit more for something, because I believe I'm then having other people employed at a higher pay rate. So I get the mindset, you know what I mean? But I'm not paying $1,000 for a phone. I'm not paying $1,000 for a laptop. You know what I mean? That's, I just won't. But yeah, so expect Pixel devices in the future to be, I'll just say this, more reasonably priced. And I'm happy. I might actually entertain the idea of getting one. I won't, but I'll at least entertain the idea.
So can I take a few minutes and use this bully pulpit to speak ill of a business?
I think that's why you're on the show, Mark.
Yeah. You mentioned going elsewhere to support people. I try to support local business whenever possible. And a couple of weeks ago, when I was back in Texas, the funeral was not in my hometown. It was, near my hometown, but I didn't have a ready opportunity for people ready to put up 5 strangers in their home. So I had to stay in a hotel, and last minute sort of thing that tends to get expensive, because I've got, again, 5 people, 2 of which are, in the teen age. So we need either a suite or 2 adjoining rooms. So I made my reservations at the Magnuson Grand Hotel and Convention Center in Tyler, Texas. And I booked through a third-party website. I think it was booking.com. And, just being, transparent, I saw the big thing that said this is a non-refundable booking. I got that. I knew that was the choice I was making when I made it. But I had requested some special considerations. My oldest daughter has some mobility issues. She needs a wheelchair or a walker. She can't go upstairs. And so I had contacted the hotel ahead of time before I made the non-refundable deposit, and got an email from, presumably the company through the website. And they said, yeah, not a problem. We can accommodate that. And so I made threw down a chunk of money to stay in a suite at the Magnuson Grand Hotel and Convention Center for 3 days. And, then the next day we get on the road. We're 14 hours on the road. I roll up to this place, and the little lady behind the counter says, yeah, your room's on the second floor up the stairs. We don't have an elevator. Wait, what? You don't have an elevator and we're on the second floor? Did you not tell me that you could accommodate my daughter's wheelchair? Well, no, we didn't do that. So I showed her the email that her company allegedly had sent to me. And she was like, well, yeah, we don't even have any rooms of that type on the first floor. We can't even help you. So long story short, they basically took my money and left my family stranded, literally on the streets, with no place to go, and had no concern about it at all because they had taken my money. There was no incentive for them to help me in any way. There was no incentive for them to do the right thing because they already had my money. So Magnuson Grand Hotel and Convention Center in Tyler, Texas. Most of our listeners will never go to Tyler, Texas. Most of this will not affect anybody in any way for the most part. But I'm calling you out, Magnuson Grand Hotel and Convention Center. You screwed my family. And basically, I mean, this is a really short version of a really long thing. Essentially, they said, maybe you could carry your 16-year-old daughter up the stairs. And so I ended up having to go down the street to another hotel and then pay the absolute last minute let me rape you taxes because you have nowhere else to, or fees because you know nowhere else to go, and book another set of rooms for another 3 days after I'd already paid for this one. That's just crappy in every sense of the word.
Did you contact the third party?
Sure. And they said non-refundable, and that was that.
Wow.
Non-refundable if I don't do my part makes sense. If I choose not to go, if somebody gets sick or, whatever, but non-refundable because they didn't have a room I could use, that's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what the podcast was because, I kind of have a habit addiction. Where they were talking about customer service and they were talking about the extreme lack of customer service with all hotels, whether it be the Marriott, the Hilton, or the Madison Grand, where they are so cheap. They will not actually, when you call up or send an email, they actually will never forward it all the way down the chain to the actual location where the actual question is being made. It's always from a higher up source where they literally are not expected to know the actual answer because, they're not expected to stop what they're doing and literally call up the place and ask them. I'll say customer service seems to be a virtue now in short supply, which is why when I find a company or a service that actually does try to do good customer service, I go out of my way to try to make sure that they understand that I respect them for it. And when I come across a company like this where there is no customer service, they can't even spell the words. I do everything in my power to, make them pay.
I don't do a lot of traveling. I'm not a road warrior or anything like that. But in all my years, Hilton has never screwed me. They have overcharged me, but they've never just totally raped me. So from now on, it's Hilton and Marriott and the big names all the way for me. I've learned my lesson. Screw trying to help the little guy, the little local business, because, I'm done.
Funny you say that. I want to say it was episode of Historical Controversies podcast, where, we are led to believe the bad guys are these big businesses, Walmart, Amazon, monopolies. Oh, kill them, kill them. Actually, in a historical context, the real evil people were the locally owned shops, the locally owned services, the locally owned stores, because they didn't want that competition to come in so they could keep screwing over everybody in the community, whether it was the coal mine and the company store kind of mentality or, anything like that. They did not want to lose their grip. And the reason the big companies were able to come in and win was because they were actually offering a fair product at a fair price and not just trying to gouge people. So I'm all for supporting honorable local businesses, but I've now made that caveat in my head. I will not support a local business just because they're a local business.
Yeah.
Did you shop at the Joja Mart?
Yes.
That's a Stardew Valley reference, Mark.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I know it.
Well, I'll bring something else that I know Mark doesn't care about whatsoever in any shape, way, or form. About almost a year ago now, Apple mentioned, and I still don't think it's actually live yet, a like subscription service, because everything in the universe has to be a subscription now, where you get access to a premier set of games on your iOS device every month, included in your subscription fee. Well, details now have leaked about the Google Play Pass, that is upcoming, going to be available for Android users, where it looks like it's going to be $5 a month. But it's not just games, and I have to say that very abruptly and very loudly. This is not just a game subscription. Expect it to include music streaming, possibly video streaming solutions as well, including games. And yes, leaked screenshots for the people testing it already showed that it does actually include Stardew Valley. So that's a big plus. I'm almost okay. I'm so deep, and now I'm starting to sound like an Apple user. I'm so deep in the Android ecosystem, I can almost see myself spending $5 a month to have access to what they consider to be premier apps, premier tools, and premier games. I think I actually might jump on board.
So it's like the Netflix of video games. You get to try them out, but you don't get to keep them, or
Well,
I don't understand I don't get it.
I'm happy you said that. It's kind of like that, except it's not just video games. That's the thing. They're honestly thinking there's going to be a version of Spotify that's going to be available in it. They honestly think there's going to be some Google Play music available in it. They think there's going to be utility style apps in there as well, including possibly like office style applications, communication style applications, as well, not just games. Because if you notice, it's not called Game Pass. It's Google Play. Google Play is the store, and it's the Google Play Pass.
So for $7 a month, or $7.99 is what 9to5 Google says it is. So for $8 a month,
No,
I get
no. $7.99 is the price of Stardew Valley. The subscription is going to be $5 a month.
Okay. So $5 a month, I get access to Spotify Premium, which is $3 a month, and Google Play Music and YouTube Premium and all that. I mean, if that's true, you would be an idiot not to spend $5 a month on this.
My belief is they're going to literally make it the very beginning that kind of situation where if you don't jump on board, what's wrong with you kind of mentality. I don't expect it to be that sweet of a deal for long. I will say, if you're even remotely thinking about this, it might be worth your while to get in early, because it's typically the kind of thing they're hesitant to raise prices for people who are already in. But if you come in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, it might be $7 a month.
But if it's the right apps, that still works.
Well, and that's the whole thing. They also said it looks like it's also going to be able to cover some actually in-game purchases as well. So hypothetically, Dr. Mario, one of the worst Nintendo games ever made, Dr. Mario World, there's in-app purchases where you might be able to get like 2 or 3 in-app purchases every month for free. So to me, they're doing the actual really smart thing with this service, not just having games. Wouldn't shock me if you even get like a free movie rental every month too, kind of thing. I think I'm going to basically bite the bullet, and I'm gonna, as soon as it's available, jump into it, because it's $5 a month. It's the price of 2 Monster energy drinks that I drink every day.
Yeah, slightly less than the cost of my watch.
Yeah.
We haven't had one in a while, and this one has been languishing for a couple of weeks from our good friend the Rhino Chuck, who says, so it's been a few weeks since the addition of your new crew members. Josh and Ivor have been active in the forums, and I've always enjoyed talking to Ivor on Google+. I must say, it's like there was never a time that they weren't here. Kind of seamless, which is always good. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt the flow of the show any more than necessary. You have a great show here. I love it. I miss Eric. Peace, the Rhino. So kind words for our newcomers.
Yeah, well, thank you. Is that Chuck down in Oregon?
He's in Georgia.
Oh, different Chuck.
Yeah,
he's my neighbor.
That's Chuck Litchfield.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Chuck, if you're listening. Both Chucks.
All right.
Okay.
That's it. I did my thing. I'm done now. I can go home.
I've got a phone here that is kind of interesting, and there's a video. It's actually a demo of a folding phone that the guy just beats the hell out of, basically. I put it into the chat. So it's a phone it's called the Royal FlexPay, I think it's FlexPi. And yeah, so it's just kind of interesting. It's the first time I actually watched a video on a folding phone, and it actually looks decent, which I was surprised.
Yeah, I'll say the only people I heard mention this, they were kind of making fun of it, about like trying to like say was kind of janky, junky, first generation kind of thing, and to like wait for future generations of it. I'll just say this: somebody had to be the first one to market. You know, and I'll say I don't like the fact that it's thicker where the bend is versus where the two ends meet. That kind of, freaks me out a little bit.
It's only $1,300 though, so I mean, $6 a month? How long does that take to pay off?
Forever.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least 6 years. I'll just say this: it's inevitable. I mean, we all have to be able to at least admit, you know, with tablets literally dying on the vine, the idea of a foldable phone, they're not going to give up on it anytime soon.
Well, it looks a lot better than that foldable watch that Ivor's in love with.
They look crazy, is what I'll say. They literally look crazy. But yeah, this manufacturer, I'll say, oh man, this manufacturer is like Vizio used to be like 10 years ago, where they're like fighting tooth and nail to try to become a reputable company. They're making a name for themselves by being, first to market, but I don't know if they're actually, going to make it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is janky and it is a first generation, so but it's also fun to watch somebody just destroy something brand new.
Yeah. Well, they can throw away the money, I guess. I'm gonna just really quick drop this one in here. I did bring this months, maybe years ago now on AAA. This is like a Generation 2, or actually, I think it's technically Generation 3 device. Keepod, Keepod. This has the model of you buy one, they give one away to like charity, to like third world country kind of mentality kind of thing. What this basically is, this is a portable on the go Android on a stick. So you can basically take this USB drive, plug it into an x86 computer, reboot, and say boot from the USB stick, and you get, to be honest, is an actual pretty polished Android experience. It is, in my opinion, super difficult to make Android a desktop friendly interface. I'm not going to say that they, made it a perfect 10 out of 10, but they definitely did better than average. Like, for instance, the Lenovo Yoga Book Android, I will say, was like a 5 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10. This is like a 7 or 8 out of 10, but it is a USB stick, which means you will not get, tremendous speed or anything out of it, but it is at least functional and useful. And the version they send to third world countries is specifically designed to be like a student's quote unquote portable computer, where they come into a classroom, they plug it into a computer, they boot to it, and it's going to contain their own personal desktop with their own personal configuration, with direct access to their personal like media files and text documents and that kind of thing.
I'm down with the concept. In fact, I used to do this sort of thing all the time. In fact, I still carry an Ubuntu hot drive with me everywhere I go. I just don't understand why Android. I mean, with Linux distributions being so stable and so ubiquitous, why shoehorn Android into an x64 and get what can only be a substandard experience?
Well, I can tell you this. You don't have to worry about DRM. You don't have to worry about codecs. You don't have to worry about proprietary type of things like that. You get every piece of Microsoft software for education completely free, and it will run perfectly native on it without issue. I'm not going to say again it's the perfect system for it, but I'll say it's at least a simplified system for it that they might be a little bit comfortable with if they have an Android device at home kind of thing.
Yeah,
I will say,
I think that's probably it. It's probably kids are already familiar with Android in the third world, so it's a seamless interface for them, and that would be the reason to do it.
But you still need a computer in order to run it.
well, the logic is you get 10-year-old refurb laptops with no hard drives in them.
And then everyone just shares. You
Well,
come into computer class with your little key stick and shove it in there. And
yeah, I don't know if it actually works, is what I'll say, but I like people trying to develop things to help both, the first and third world at the same time.
yeah, it's interesting. It's the same concept that One Laptop Per Child had when they had those goofy green laptops, and you buy one, and then they were allegedly sending them to developing countries or to wherever. So, I mean, I think they're trying to basically piggyback on that concept. So, I mean, if it's a good thing, great. But One Laptop Per Child didn't kind of fizzled out there pretty hard.
That's because their hardware was terrible.
Oh, it's so terrible.
I had one of those for a while. I did the whole buy one, send one to a third world thing, and they were just terrible hardware. And I understand that was a first world viewpoint of a product made for the third world, so it wasn't made for me. But it just didn't hold up to the. They said it was going to be durable. They said it was going to have, be able to get like an hour on a minute of cranking on the internal generator. None of those things were true.
Right.
No, it was, it was, I don't want to call it a scam, but it was a bit of a scam. And they didn't have their internal workings as a company weren't terrific either.
I won't say it was a scam. I'll say they made a mistake of over promising and under delivering, which is something nobody will let you get away with. And I'll say the hardware was jank. Okay. It was literally Fisher Price grade hardware, but I will say the software was not optimized either. So,
well, they're still developing the software. It's called Sugarizer.
Yeah.
And the project that I'm part of, the Internet in a Box project, one of the apps on there is actually the Sugarizer app. So that's still available, open source, and you can run it on whatever you want to.
Very cool. Yeah. They also tried to do the one tablet per child. I don't think that worked out either. I want to bring it. I guess it is an app, Mark, if you can believe it. We months and months and months and maybe 3 years ago, now that I stop and think about it, we brought an app to the show called Greenify. Greenify to me was a good app to use if you still wanted to use a lot of applications on your phone, but you wanted to at least lessen the amount of battery being used by those applications, whether it be when you actually went away from the app and it lost focus, you wanted it to literally be killed, or you just wanted to lessen the amount of applications that would run in the background. And it was pretty good. Greenify, pretty good application. Unfortunately, to really get the full potential out of it, you had to pay money, number one. Number two, it was closed source proprietary. Nobody knew what was actually going on. So there's this application developed called SuperFreezZ with 2 Z's. SuperFreezZ. It's an open source alternative to Greenify that can kill apps that are running in the background. I like being able to give people in what I consider to be well-designed looking applications, number one, that can actually, in a snap, kill background processes, kill background applications, and help conserve, I'll say, battery life at the same time, where you don't need a degree in order to understand it. It doesn't look like anything's really presented in tech lingo kind of fashion. It looks like it's a very easy, usable interface.
And that's SuperFreezZ for the rest of the world.
Sorry, what did you just say? You sound like you were mumbling.
He was speaking Canadian.
Oh,
I installed Greenify many years ago, and I think it's still lingering on my phone somewhere. But I believe when I first got it, I opened it up and it was just I just could not take the time to try to figure out how to even use it.
It's been my experience that since Android 6, the OS itself does a really good job of background app management. I've really never seen the need to use this ever, honestly. But even when I was running it just as an experiment, I never, Android would actually freeze the Freeze app. And I've just never really seen the benefit of this sort of thing because Android has some really good, garbage collection tasks of its own. And secondly, I'm really frustrated by all these apps, and not just apps, but tip websites and all things. Basically, the answer to how to extend your battery life is just don't use your thing, right? You want to extend your battery life? Well, turn off the radio and turn off GPS and dim the screen. Yeah, so don't use the thing, and it'll last infinitely. Push the power button off, and it'll last much longer, weeks on a charge. It's wrong-headed thinking. I only have a phone because I want to use the phone. I don't want to disable things in the name of battery.
Well, I think that the replaceable battery, I think if we went back to that would also...
Nah.
That would, no?
That's a complete false narrative. What we need is phones with actually 4,000 plus milliamp battery instead of these little peddly 2,700 milliamp battery.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be able to say it's the thinnest, lightest phone on the market.
Well, they can lie like they already do. I mean, what's the difference?
But the batteries are eventually going to run out, right? The batteries are eventually going to die, and it's nice to have that option of switching out the battery versus just chucking it into a landfill and buying a new one. But I guess that's the point.
No.
Manufacturer, and that's exactly what you want people to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, some people say the having the battery replaceable encourages them to throw the battery away before its full lifespan and replaces it. To me, it's like it's almost a no-win kind of situation when it comes to that. I love the idea of a replaceable battery, but I love when it's not and they can literally pack more battery into the same space. So I'm not going to say one's right, one's wrong. I just like to have good battery life.
The solution is probably using the one laptop per child crank in order to charge your phone. I think is probably the way to go.
I tell you right now, if they made it to where the more you exercised, the more your phone battery would last, we would be the fittest country in the world in no time.
Yeah, my granddad in 1964 had a self-winding watch. Why can't we have a self-charging phone? Just saying. Let me read another email. This one has been languishing for a while in the old inbox here. It's from Julian. He says, just a quick follow-up on your discussion of the Amazfit smartwatches. My wife has an Amazfit watch. Setting it up with her Huawei P20 took a bit of effort since it was running Android Pie and the app wasn't fully optimized with such a new version of the OS. But the app got an update soon afterwards. I've noticed with Show Me phones that the OS is usually one version behind, so the company's policy might be to stay with the tried and trusted rather than the new and shiny. Anyway, she's happy with the watch, gives detailed feedback on all sorts of health-related matters. The battery tends to last a couple of days. However, I believe it's not possible for the watch to truly function without pairing it to a phone, as even the time is determined by doing this. By the way, it needs to access contacts to inform the wearer about who is calling. My son had a Show Me band until it was stolen last week. One charge typically lasted around 20 days. He gets very happy with it and wants another one. As for me, I don't need any other devices in my life that need to be charged regularly, so I have an ordinary digital watch with a 10-year battery in it. I also think Apple Watches look tacky, despite being incredibly overpriced. So I was very taken aback by how popular it's become in the UK when I visited the country recently. I agree with all those things you said. They're all tacky, and batteries are a thing, and the Mi Band is great. I haven't looked at the Amazfit because I don't like the pictures I've seen of the OS. So that's my comments. Thanks, Julian, for the email. Any other comments?
Yeah, the Amazfit, I will say, the OS is, I'll say this, heavily optimized to be extremely battery efficient. Thus, it could be mistaken for something from a children's movie from 2012.
Yeah.
I'm not, I can't lie. The Mi Band, I've never met anybody who's had one who says anything negative about it. And there's at least 20 or 30 people by now. One person was just like, I just didn't like it. I wanted a bigger screen. And that's a very fair thing to say, but you knew the size of the screen, before you bought it.
I ordered you actually sent me the link. It was a while ago. I ordered a Lenovo HX03F, I guess it is, from GearBest. So it's basically a fitness tracker smartwatch. Not really sure, but it was $27 Canadian.
Right.
And so I just received an email 6 weeks after I ordered it that they just shipped it. So that's good. So I'll have be able to talk about that at some point, maybe.
Yeah, that's the thing about GearBest. Sometimes when you order things, it literally has to ship from Hong Kong, so it might take 2 months.
And Ivor in the chat says, "Oh no, Lenovo, they don't do good hardware outside of laptops." You could have told me that before.
No,
the reason I ordered it is because I really enjoy
they
Lenovo
do some of the
laptops.
they do some of the best and underrated phones on the market. Period.
And that's why you're not on the show, Ivor.
He's been banned. I am in the market for a new smartwatch, but I'm underwhelmed with the options out there. And I understand I'm not your typical smartwatch consumer. Most guys are happy with the Apple Watch, and the black piece of plastic on their sleeve on their wrist is fine. I want something that looks like a watch, but I don't want something that has an analog face on it because it's a smartwatch. I want an actual LCD screen. I like Android Wear, and that's kind of unusual. There it was the it OS for a while, and now there's only a handful of things that use it. So, I think the smartwatch market has just left me. They've moved on without me, and I may just have to go back to my trusty old Timex Ironman.
Well, I'll say part of the reason it became stagnant for literally 2+ years was the fact that Qualcomm did not update the processor at all. So we never got increased battery life. We never got increased functionality. We never got increased efficiency. We never got increased power. So hardware manufacturers were like, look, if this is the best we can get, we can't do anything more with it. We've already put everything out on the market. They're not selling as much as we want. So we're just going to stop manufacturing them.
Yeah, and then they went to the Fitbit craze, the fitness tracker, and figured that's what everybody wanted. So all the watches today are just knockoffs of the Fitbit that also happen to tell time.
And Fitbit just announced they have to completely change their business model, or else they're not going to be alive. And I want to say 18 months is what they said. So now they've discounted all of their fitness trackers as far as they could possibly take them to offer after the fact a premium, you guessed it, subscription service to more premier features via the fitness tracker. I think that's hilarious, by the way.
Well, they're skating on their name at this point. Like Mark said, most of the smart watches or fitness trackers look the same, and they're doing the same thing. And now you have Huawei and Xiaomi and 1,000 other brands that no one's heard of that like even this Lenovo for $25. I'm not spending $199 on a Fitbit. What's the point?
To support the economy.
Are they sending one to a third world country to some children too, or?
I don't know.
I have a Fitbit because my company makes me wear one or incentivizes me to wear one. So on this watch, on this hand I have the smartwatch. On this hand I have the Fitbit.
I told you, Mark. I would have immediately got a pet dog and put it around the pet dog's leg.
Or a metronome.
I know lots of companies are doing this thing. Insurance companies are pushing it because a healthy workforce costs them less money. But for my particular company, I make more in my HIA account, health incentive account, every month, or about the same every month as the Fitbit cost me one time. So I'm out 2 months because I bought one for me and one for my wife, and she's linked to my account. So when her steps and her sleep tracking and her calorie tracking all go to mine. So between the two of us, by February, we had paid for our Fitbits that I bought for Christmas and are just banking the extra money. And with children and regular medical expenses, it's come in real handy. So yeah, you can blame the man or whatever, but for me, it's working out pretty well.
What account is this?
It's you may not have them in Canada. It's called a health incentive account. It's essentially a credit card that you can only, or a debit card that you can only use for medical expenses.
And like all of the money that goes into it is tax exempt.
Well, that's a health savings account. So a health savings account is me putting my own money in.
Our incentive accounts that come from work are completely tax exempt.
Well, in our case, the health incentive account is no money. I mean, it's not my money that puts in. There's no taxes because it's money put in by by my company. So they put credit on my debit card for me. So it's not an account. It's like an HSA. This is a health savings account where I put money in. It is gaining interest and it's tax exempt. That's a good thing, but it's money set aside just for health expenses. This is a card. It's a Visa card that can only be used for medical expenses. And the money that gets put into it is just free money to me. So it's a win-win.
That is insane to me.
Yeah, and there's certain things I have to do. I have to, get a certain number of steps a day, and I have to get a certain number of hours of sleep a night. And so the idea is to make your health, your workforce healthier. So your insurance, if you've got thousands of employees, your insurance provider will give you a deal on your insurance under the assumption that your workforce will be healthier. Right now, it's all carrots. I expect in a couple of years the sticks to start coming in. Right. So right now they're giving me free money. Right. In 5 years, they'll start penalizing me if I don't get enough steps a day. That kind of thing.
I believe it. And just super quick, we mentioned screen size, and don't let anyone tell you screen size does matter. We in the past have talked about phones with screens on more than one side, and we mentioned how it looked like it was a thing that passed. Well, it looks like no, it's still around. There was literally a phone launched, I want to say it was less than 3 weeks ago, that has a front and back screen. The back screen was a far less resolution and far smaller, but this one is a Vivo Nex 3 NEX 3, where it's going to have a screen to body ratio, quote unquote, over 100%. They have like a leak of a screen protector, and you can see the screen protector basically goes all the way around the phone. So they literally expect like almost the entirety facing outwards on this phone to have curves on the edge, which is screen, and the front and back to be basically virtually all screen.
So phones for a while have been mostly glass. The iPhones, the glass front and the glass back. This is going with the glass bezel. This is essentially a glass phone with screen all around it. Probably two screens that meet together. It's a neat idea. I don't know why you need it, but I don't know why you need a folding watch either, Ivor.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't ask why someone needs it before you as a manufacturer start to produce it. And I think this might be one of those cases, but I will say This is not a US release kind of thing. It's going to be, I believe, mainly in Asia kind of thing. So maybe there is some kind of use case when you're laying in bed and you have this screen laying between the two of you and you're watching a video on your side and maybe your significant other is watching the screen on the other side.
Watching two different videos, of course, because you can't agree on what to watch.
Yeah. Well, and because maybe you can't afford two phones.
I can see this being useful as a television, but I don't know about a phone.
I don't know. I just found it interesting that it's still, dare I say, quote unquote, a thing in 2019.
It's good to see people doing new things. I'm always excited for people doing new things. Just one quick plug that we'll be able to do it one more time, but 5150 wants us to keep reminding people about KansasLinuxFest.org, which is August 9th through 11th at the campus of Wichita State University. So if you're in that area or can be in that area next week, check it out.
Yeah, and I'll tell people over audio is what I'll say. If you send an email to, oh man, I'm looking for the email now. If you send an email to 5150 in text letters, not numbers, 5150 at linuxbasement.com, he will be there. He will help show you around town. Dare I say, he'll show you a good time. The question is can you keep up with him? I don't know. Not everybody can. I'm going to bring one more, not an app thing, but it's app related is what I want to say. I've been off and on crying like a child and complaining about how I cannot stand when I see links and I know for a fact the link is hiding a extra junk after the URL to either change my Amazon a affiliate link or something to that effect. This is approaching what I want on my phone. Unfortunately, it's only available right now in Firefox on Android. Full-blown normal Firefox on Android can run all of the desktop add-ins or extensions, however you want to put it. And there's a new extension in air quotes called ClearURLs. I'm sorry, Clear, ClearURLs. It's a extension for Chrome and Firefox, and it basically deletes tracking information from URLs. So when you click a link and it comes into Firefox, or you click a link from one page to another in Firefox, it will remove a lot of the junk after the URL, which is basically there for tracking purposes, reference purposes, things like that. I want this everywhere. I want this ubiquitous. I want this in every browser. I want this all the time. I want to go out of my way to personally assist somebody with a referral type of link rather than be baited into a clickbaity type hyperlink and then fall into a trap of giving somebody money that I really don't trust, like, or believe in.
Transparency.
Yeah, it's really nice when you know that you're supporting somebody because you want to support somebody and not because you are basically tricked into supporting them.
Can it blow up a tiny URL?
We do have other apps that can do that. I want to say it was called URL Expander was the one. And basically what happens is it will not work automatically. You have to share the link out to the service. Then what it does is it gives you a toast notification of the full-blown URL and then ask you, what do you want to open the URL in? And you pick a browser. So we can get close to that, not seamless, not, one click and there it is. Yeah.
Hey, Dor, Rob in the chat is wondering about the 5150. You said it's spelled out 5150 and not numerical.
Yeah, I'll see if I can copy the email address as I talk very slowly. And there you go. FIFTYONE FIFTY at linuxbasement.com. And I'll say this: 50s are a really nice guy. Just whatever you do, don't go to sleep next to him. And I'm not going to go. I'm not going to elaborate anymore on that.
Wow,
You
we should
can't say
probably go
something
into
like that
apps.
and follow it up with, "I'm not going to elaborate." That's against the law. Can't do that.
I'll just say I've heard stories, and since it's third party, I wasn't there. I wasn't there for a reason, but I wasn't there, so I'm not. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to throw in a complete monkey wrench and say I used to be a launcher or home screen, like absurd addict when it came to Android. I always wanted to see different kind of home screens that would just look different, feel different, do different things, and not just a grid of squares, or circles with links on it. Because Nova Launcher's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It ain't good. It's fine. If you like it, it's fine. Keep using it. I'm never using it. This was different enough. I had to at least try it, and it's called AIO Launcher from AIO Mobile Apps. It is under personalization application. 6,401 reviews. E for everyone. Does have an in-app purchase. I want to say it was $2.50 if I'm not mistaken. Completely free to download. No in-app ads. Current rating 4.5. Average reviews. Updated July 30th, 2019, 5.8 megs in size, 100,000 plus installs, current version 2.7.17. You have to have 5.0 Android or up. Content rating of it's of course E for everyone. It's $2.99 for the in-app purchase. Permissions, it needs access to everything. It's a home screen. That's what they do. I don't even know how to accurately describe this, except it's just a segmented scrollable home screen. At the top, you have the obvious time and weather, date, alarm status, battery status, frequently used apps, last calls. You have favorite applications listings. You have notifications instead of in your shade right there in your face if you want. You have your mailbox right there if you want. You have a news feed right there if you want. You have a Twitter feed right there if you want. You have like a stock market tracker if you want, and all of this is customizable and movable if you want, kind of thing. um and I'll say this, it has more features than what I just said. You just have to dig in a little bit more, but it's very themable, very customizable. You can have widgets and other things in the app as well. I'm actually kind of smitten over this home screen right now, so I'm going to keep it and see how I like it. I mean, like for my son, I told him he needs to install it just because right on the home screen, it's a one button timer. So when I say, "Hey, dude, baby, you can take out the trash," he can click on his phone and say, "Can I do it in 10 minutes?" and click the button and just unlock the screen one tap. There's a 10-minute timer set. So maybe I won't kill him.
It's I'm watching this video, which is kind of mesmerizing. I mean, it's 3.5 minutes long, and it's going through all the different features, but it's kind of hard to explain. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before, and I'm not sure I like it, but I'm not sure I don't like it.
I'll tell you something I don't like about it. In the frequently used application listings, there is no pictures. It's just the name of the application, and unfortunately, it's a shortened version of the name. So, for instance, Google Play Music and the Google Play Store only show up as Google space PL. And then you have to know, well, the Google Play Store is a light blue and the Google Play Music is orange. And then if you train yourself with those kinds of things, then it's at least easier to go through things. Also, here's the thing. It even has a setting in the back to when I launch my phone, and lock it. If I just tap the fingerprint reader, it will automatically launch an application to where this time I configured it to be Voxer because I'm a Voxer addict.
I'm definitely going to
Edit those
install
names?
this.
Sorry.
You go, Josh.
Oh, I just said I'm I'm definitely going to install this and play with it. I haven't really used that many launchers, but I like the simplicity of that, and it seems I don't know, like Mark said, it almost adds more clutter but declutters the screen.
And I was asking if you could change the name of those apps, like can you long press and change it to just music or movies instead of Google Play?
Not that I'm aware of, but for instance, if I long click and hold on the Google Play, I get at the very bottom the normal long click menu where I can launch directly into my apps. I don't see a way yet to customize it, but I will say there is a way you can add custom themes of icons, and I do believe in the options there is a way to not show the name, the physical name. I think there is a way you can actually show an icon for the app instead. Um, I'm okay with the names for now, is what I'm going to say.
All right. Let me read another email. Pete asks a question. Says on last week's podcast, either Josh or Ivor mentioned the AAA subreddit. I've searched Android App Addicts all kinds of different ways and still come up empty. Could you please send me a link to the subreddit they mentioned on the show? Is there such a thing?
Yes, no. It's not an Android App Addicts subreddit. It's just a general Podnutz Reddit. So it's reddit.com/r/podnutz. And I'll say along the same kind of avenue, I thought to have /r/Android App Addicts /r/mini PC /r/ Linux for the rest of us /r/DDD I mean, I could keep going because that's how many shares we got. Was a bit overwhelming and probably not smart. In hindsight, I don't think it's smart to have patreon.com/Android App Addicts, patreon.com, all the other ones. So I might look at consolidating them a little bit more firm because if we can have one centralized place for everyone to congregate, I think it'll be easier. And that's the way that we did the Reddit. And I will thank Caleb for helping set up the Podnutz subreddit. Longtime Podnutz guy. So if you want to hang out on Reddit, it's just reddit.com/r/Podnutz.
I've never used Reddit. I mean, Google has occasionally dropped me to a Reddit page for my search, but I've never actually gone to Reddit to look for something.
You don't have to.
This is the first time that I've ever used Reddit is just for Podnutz.
I mean, do you remember dig.com?
I remember that it was a thing. Another thing I never used.
Yeah. It's just a place. Think of it as a forum or a bulletin board. But instead, when you go to a category like Podnutz, what's at the top is not hard set. And it isn't necessarily the newest. There's an algorithm where it's the newest and the most liked, the most upvoted kind of thing. Then you can sort by hottest, by newest, by whatever. But the default view, it's a algorithm where it's supposed to help things bubble up to the top. And if something isn't popular or isn't good, you won't see it by the top of the list. For us, it's really nothing more than just a community hub because there's so little postings that anything that gets posted, even if you only go once a week, you'll see it probably on the front page.
Okay.
Yep.
This is probably the point where I'm supposed to say something or do something hosty, but
well,
I can bring an app. I don't want to ruin the flow here.
Let's not do that.
This is called The Trail. It's by Congregate. And it says it's a simulation, which is a bit of a stretch. It has 280,417 total reviews with 4.4 average reviews. Last updated August 30th, 2018, 52 megs, 5 million plus installs. Current version 9199 requires Android 4.1 and up. and has in-app purchases $1.39 to $139.99. I have not paid that. And basically, you just start out. You are coming to America, I suppose, and you get off a boat, and then you just start walking, and you have to collect different things on the trail in order to craft and fabricate new clothing and slingshots and axes and stuff like that. And so you don't have control as to where you go, but you can control the speed as to which you go, and you can look around 360 degrees. And then there are random camps where you can go and do some trading and actually do your crafting. And there's some little mini games, or you have to collect 12 rabbit hides and then you get a new recipe, or you can build a new hat or things like that. So it's entertaining for a while.
So this was completely free?
It's free. Yes, they do throw some offers in there to buy more things to power up easily, but you can play it for a long time without having to worry about that.
Gotcha. Yeah, because honestly, it was also free back about 100 episodes ago on 451. It is a good game. It's also available on Android. My kid almost bought it on Android. It's a walking simulator adventure game. Like, you're supposed to be like back in the 1800s. You land on shore. Your goal is to basically go to this city miles and miles and miles and miles into the coast, and you basically just start walking. You can pick up sticks, fruit, blah 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 on the way. You meet people, you interact with people, you meet and then you go into towns or like major checkpoints. There are things you can easily miss if you're walking too fast and don't look around, and if you are like utterly obsessive, you can walk slower and find literally virtually everything that there is to find. I'll say this: my son on Android had a blast playing this game. I know I sunk at least 2 or 3 hours into it, and I was shocked at how it kept my attention, even though it was really simple and there's like no talent involved at all. It was just be observant and walk around.
Interesting. I checked the list and I didn't find it the first time, and now I do. So I just like bringing stuff that other people already brought.
Well, it's a fun game, and I'll say Congregate is a huge megalithic company that used to be very popular for Flash-based games. So it wouldn't shock me if this was basically a Flash-based games converted onto other platforms. Yeah, and I'll say this: it's like a very like free and G kind of game, to quote Eric, where you don't have to worry about crazy violence. They do say there is some mild fantasy violence. I do believe it's basically because, like, bats flying through the air, you can slingshot and kill them.
Yeah,
but
they
there isn't.
carefully cut away from killing the rabbit in the video.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's the 1800s, you land on shore, you might have to kill a rabbit or two to eat. Just saying.
The thing you just described, or the game where you just walk around and be observant and don't really, to me, that's like punishment. Like, if you wanted to punish me, give me this game and say you have to finish it, and I'd be like, I will never do that again. I promise. Please don't beat me, or please do beat me instead. I cannot get behind that kind of game. But that's why I've never done Stardew Valley. It seems a whole lot of just walking around and doing stuff.
Well, I mean, you do stuff, but So if you really want pain and torture, then you should have loaded the game that we were sent in about 2 months ago called Armory and Machine. I made it about a third of the way through. Longtime listener to the show, Zoke, got virtually to the end. This is the ultimate like mystery of game where you literally virtually do nothing the whole time. And then all of a sudden you're in a battle where you basically just like click a button that says like slap or something. And then you win or lose, and then you go back to the humdrum assigning of assets, assigning of workers, managing automation, production of heat and stuff like that. And then you're thrown into a battle again. There's different levels of action, is what I'll say, and different levels of interaction. The trail on like a level of interaction is like a 5 or 6 out of 10, where Armory and Machine is literally like a 3, but it's mysterious enough that at least made me interested to go about a third the way through it, and Zoke hours into it. I don't even know, but it's like organization, automation, discovery, story.
Yeah, I remember when we saw this one the first time, the description, there are no stars in the sky. There's no light for miles. It's cold. The machines create warmth. The machines create heat. What else will the machines create? And I guess if you're the kind of person this game appeals to, that just got your salivary glands going, but not me.
I remember trying that game years ago, and I mean, it probably took 2 hours before I even had a clue as to what to do to even start the game. I just remember it was knobs, or you have to, it was something just ridiculous.
I tell you, I got a third of the way through and I still wasn't sure what the hell I was doing. But it was interesting.
All right, guys. Well, my bedtime is coming up soon, so let's go ahead and do our respective tank emptying and give the goods.
Okay. Well, I was trying to be nice and give Josh first dibs, but you know,
He's still the new guy. He's reticent. You gotta invite him to join in.
Plus, I'm just a bit slow, so
no, we're all something. The first one I'm going to bring, I'll just put it like this: I like competition. I like more choices. I'm not sure this is the right choice, but I'm still going to mention it. And I literally tried it, and it's fine. That's what I'm going to say. Firefox Lockwise by Mozilla Productivity, 846 reviews, E for everyone. Completely free to download. No in-app ads, no in-app purchases. This is Mozilla, people. 3.4 average reviews. July 30th, 2019, last updated, 23 megs in size, 50,000 plus installs, current version 1.1.2. You need 7.0 Android or up because of the security that's involved. Content rating of it is, of course, E for everyone. Permission details. It basically just needs the ability to run at boot, view your network connections and your network access, and prevent the device from sleeping. Basically, this is a vault or a password manager, but it's more than just passwords. Think of it as a digital vault on your computer, on your phone, to where you can keep sensitive information. I like the idea of Mozilla doing this. I like the idea of them not integrating it directly into the browser. I like the idea of it being a separate application, because I have to believe then it makes it a little bit more difficult to be compromised. But I'm afraid of any password management system that becomes popular just because it becomes a bigger target. So, with that said, I will let this become as popular as it can become, and I will then mentally review it again and see how it's doing. And if it still remains secure, if it still remains trustworthy, if I don't hear about any crazy critical exploits, and it seems to get regular updates because I'm going to leave it installed, I might actually look at making this my full-time password management system.
So it's LastPass made by Mozilla.
It's LastPass with less features than LastPass. There's no way to even get around it. LastPass has, I don't even know now, 8 years of maturity behind it, to where, you know, all of the different functionality and features that it offers. And then, you know, it was like a year or two ago bought by LogMeIn, who hasn't completely messed it up yet. They've kept offering features and expanding functionality. So this is no LastPass, but it's a FastPass like application, is the way that I'll put it. So I like competition, so I'm going to keep it in my viewpoint is what I'm going to say. What I'm going to bring next is not Doom on Android, which I believe costs more money than this, but this is a similar type year game. This is called Flashback Mobile by SFL Interactive Adventure. 20 reviews, everyone 10 and up, $4.99 to buy, 4.2 average reviews. Updated July 17th, 2019, 54 megs in size, 100 plus installs. Current version 0.0.16. You need 6.0 Android or up. Permissions, again, nothing fancy. Photos, storage. For some reason, camera and microphone. That makes me slightly worried, but it's actually by a name brand studio. This is the old school video game called Flashback. There's no other way I can put this. If you don't know about the game, you're never going to spend the money for the game. If you do know about the game, you might spend the money for the game. If you like it, but $5 is too much, add it to your wish list, and then when it comes on sale, you'll be notified.
I wanted to bring an app, if that's okay. I know, that's sort of unprecedented.
Whoa, Mark, you're supposed to stay in your lane.
Yeah, sorry. I don't have a Play Store link to it because it's not. It is an Android app, but that's only part of it. I am a big fan. Have been a big fan of TeamViewer for remote access of my own devices. I've got things in the basement, things in the studio, things down in the living room, and I like to communicate with them. Remotely, and VNC and those things have been around for a long time, but TeamViewer has just sort of been the go-to. It's a handy way to do, and it's free for personal use. Apparently, TeamViewer decided recently that my use wasn't personal, even though I've never used it to connect to two things outside my network. But they decided that I've been using it for commercial uses, and they cut me off. And now anytime I use it, I get a thing that says, go here to buy a commercial license. And honestly, I'm not all that concerned about it, but you guys may know about this. It may be the most popular thing in the world, but I recently discovered AnyDesk, anydesk.com, ANEYDSK. It's Windows, BSD, Android, Linux, iOS, Raspberry Pi, cross-platform. It is commercial. It is not open source. But they have a free license. And what I like about it is the free license only works on your own network. It auto discovers. So you load it on different devices on your network and you launch it up. It searches your network. And so there's no ads. There's no, hey, would you like to upgrade? It's just, if you try to do something that you can't do, like connect to something over the internet, it says, hey, here's a license. And the licenses are not egregious. They're not, I would have done a TeamViewer license if it were $50 a year, but no, they wanted $50 a month for one client, and not going to do that. So anyway, anydesk.com. I'm really enjoying it, and it handles, the weird things like user access control in Windows 7 really well. It works cross-platform. I've used it. I haven't used the Android app itself, but I've used it across a couple of different OSs, and I really like it. So I just thought I'd share it with the audience. Anydesk.com.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, they do have a Play Store link. I will make sure it's in the notes. I love the idea of giving it away completely for free as long as it's on the same local area network, because a lot of reasons. One, then it's not being used for, I'll say, nefarious means to abuse for corporate purposes. Number two, you don't need to adhere, in my belief, to as high as of standards in security if you're not going over the public internet. So the fact that they're using TLS 1.2, I'm okay with, kind of thing, because I believe that was that is the right one. Okay, so that's a good one. Never mind. Yeah, I got confused with SSL version there for a second. Here's the thing. It's a perfect business model to say you can use it on your own land for free, aka you can evaluate it till the cows come home on your local land all day long, and then if you want to use it for a true business use, give us a couple bucks. $50 a month is literally insane. I cannot believe people are willing to just say, here's $50 every single month of the year. So yeah. And I've heard of it, but I haven't really seen it, I'll say. And I never heard anything bad about it. I just heard it was a choice out there, and all of the screenshots, at least it looks exactly what I would expect it to look, just something that works.
Yeah. So the AnyDesk pricing is $11 a month for one user on one device at a time. So you can have multiple devices, but you can only use one at a time. Multiple devices, multiple users is $21 a month. And then unlimited devices, unlimited endpoints is $50 a month. So, if you're running a business, $600 a year is probably not out of your price range. But yeah, $10 a month, it's a little steep for one user. But if you're doing it commercially, right, and you're remotely connecting somebody and you're charging them $30 for each thing, and you do it 10 times a day, then yeah, $10 a month is not out of the question at all. So it's much more reasonably priced than TeamViewer.
I feel pretty fortunate. I use Screen Connect, which is ConnectWise, I think now, but I bought it 8-9 years ago, and it was a one-time license fee. I think it was $200, and it's self-hosted. I have it on a DigitalOcean Dropbox or a Droplet, $5 a month, and that's unlimited devices, but again, only one at a time. But I'm just paying for the hosting of it and never have to pay for the monthly license fees.
All right, so there's my app. Josh, you got any more to bring?
I do, and I actually checked. I don't think these have been brought before, so get off my back door. First one is called Daily Art, your daily dose of art history. And
we did that one recently.
No, you did not. And so it's by Moiseum, I think, and it's under education. It's mature 17 plus. I haven't seen any of the art that warrants that yet, so something to look forward to, I guess. There are 109,669 total reviews, 4.8, 9.5 megs, 1 million plus installs. And so basically, yeah, it just gives a painting every day, gives you a little notification. You click on it, and then it gives a background and a explanation of the painting. And I'm not really huge into art, so this is actually quite nice because it gives my numbskull something to look at that's usually pretty, and gives a little bit of a history of the artist and the actual painting. So that's free. Has in-app purchases. I believe that the in-app purchase gives you access to their entire database, so you can search through artists and paintings and not just get the one per day. But it's quite a nice little app. And then the last one that I'll bring is called Duck Warfare by Kenny Park, and it's a strategy game, and it's rated teen, 4.5. Average reviews 11,227 total reviews, and it's just a quirky little game where you are a platoon of rubber ducks, and I believe the first part you start off and you're going into a Hollywood studio, and you're fighting the Hollywood people, and the screenshot there shows fighting pirates. And so yeah, you make money during the fight, and then you upgrade your ducks to where you can have ninja ducks and helicopter ducks. It's just fun with rubber ducks, basically. So
yeah, that's a good show title, Upgrading Ducks. Somebody write that down.
Yeah, so you can have normal ducks. It looks like army ducks, Rambo ducks, ninja ducks, wizard ducks, and ducks with wings on their.
That's the marathon duck, I think, as the fast duck. But
Gotcha.
if you look at the next one, there's the
Oh yeah,
the duck on a rocket, there's
Superman duck,
airplane duck.
duck with TNT strapped around his neck.
Yeah, kamikaze duck maybe. So I don't think there's any in-app purchases, and guilty pleasure. I actually finished this game a while ago, and if they asked for money to do more levels, then I would have given it to them, but it's just not an option.
So what's the gameplay? I'm not getting it from the pictures.
Basically you start on one side, and then whomever you're fighting is on the other side, and then you select your duck, and it's by price. So you have your money count is continually going up, and you can either upgrade to where your money count goes up faster, or you can pay for a duck, and then the duck basically just waddles across, and then you meet the other construction workers or whoever it is, and then the bloody battle ensues. So you just kind of have to strategize which duck you want to send, whether it is, the fast ground troop or a helicopter duck. So there's some asinine strategy involved as well.
It looks really interesting to me.
So you
It's
have
pretty.
to,
It's pretty fun.
so like you can see them launch their soldier towards you, and then you can intelligently say, I need the blankety blank duck, and then you can send that particular kind of duck ahead because it's best against that type of enemy.
Yeah, sometimes, or sometimes they'll steamroll your guys, and then you just have to send out something to, like the fast duck, to get in the way, to slow them down, so that Senor Rambo duck can get there. I don't think I've ever said duck so many times in my life.
Another good show title. All right, guys. I can't think of a better way to end the show than duck warfare. I think we have to just stop right there and not go any further. I did have a couple more emails, but they'll hold until later. This was fun. Thanks for letting me come back. Dor, what final words of wisdom do you have for the audience?
Thank everyone for their support. Thank everyone for downloading. Thank everyone for sharing on social media. Thanks for everyone to go to Patreon. Thanks for everyone who sends emails. Thanks for everyone who sends voicemails to 7076 Podnutz. And don't forget, there are a million people out there right now hosting podcasts. A huge percentage of them are incredibly disingenuous. They don't want to know you. They don't want you to contact them. They want your attention. They want your clicks. They want your eyeballs. They want your ears. They want your money. They don't want you. Secondly, whenever somebody tells you, don't forget to go to Spotify and leave us a review. Don't forget to go to Anchor and leave us a review. Don't forget to go to Google Play and leave us a review. Don't forget to go to iTunes and leave us a review, because it helps us so much. That's proof they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. It will never help them whatsoever. It helps the platform where you post the review. It doesn't help the show. If you want to help the show directly. Don't do something near useless and just leave reviews on other people's websites. Contact the podcast directly and thank them for their show. Contact friends of yours and give them direct links to the show. Don't believe what celebrities tell you about podcast. They're not your friends. They don't want to be your friends. They don't even want to know you. They just want your eyeballs in their stack of numbers that they can give other people. So I say to everyone, thank you for listening, and I genuinely mean it.
Mr. Dennis, any follow-up to that?
How do you follow that up? I'll just say ditto and duck off.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. And as always, patreon.com/Android App Addicts. Go give money. That would help. It's a thing. Nobody here would mind if you went and threw money at us. Patreon.com/Android App Addicts. Thanks for listening. That's it for this episode of the Android App Addicts. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Stopping local recording, stopping Audacity. So I last show I let it run for 3 hours. I really do hate when I do that. Oh, and my Nextcloud's down. My less than year old 4 terabyte Western Digital passport I cannot get to mount correctly.
That stinks.
Oh,
So how should we get you stuff?
it makes me really mad. It literally makes me really mad. It's not even a year old. And I don't know who the hell I ordered it from. Because I tried to look in my email to find a, digital receipt for it. And I can't figure out where the hell I bought it from, so I could contact them and say, you sold me junk. Replace it.
It's that NTFS file system you saved it as.
Yeah. You know how I roll.
That was this 545?
545. So I'll say if you can upload it anywhere.
I didn't mention Yuki treats. I'll do it at the beginning of the intro.
Okay.
Yeah, good book. Sorry, Dor. One more time. Export as OGG8.
Yeah, all quality 8.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be... God dang it. I didn't have enough time today, and my other computer that I was using kind of crapped out a bit. So I had the microphone plugged into a USB hub, and that's where all that noise and crap was coming from. So there'll be probably some, I don't know, clicking or whatever.
Let me do an intro here. On this episode of Android App Addicts, brought to you by Yuki Treats. I forgot what I was going to say. Dang it. Oh, okay. Here it is again. Now I remember. On this episode of Android App Addicts, brought to you by Yuki Treats, Mark's back, Ivor's gone, and Josh says you should duck off.
Yep. I honestly like the Patreon mention in the beginning, Mark.
All right.
Seriously. But first off, thank you for remembering, because I'm sitting right here. And I told you 30 seconds beforehand to say it, and I forgot.
Well, I wrote a note and then quickly covered it by a window. And then when I closed that window, there was my note.
Yeah, if you guys, if anybody tries that Duck Warfare, let me know what you think.
Oh, I'm installing that tonight. That looks like the kind of game I can get behind.
Yeah, it isn't tower defense. I don't know the correct terminology for that style of game, but I've played a couple in the past where basically, if they make it all the way to your side, is it like game over?
Yeah, well, basically, I think you, like, if you looked at you've got a red wagon full of ducks.
Right.
And then, one of the screenshots, there's a dump truck, and one of them's a tank. One of them's a movie set. And so basically, if they get over to you, they start hammering your hit points from your wagon. And so then you get over to the other side and start hammering away the hit points for the...
Right. To take their base down. Yeah, basically. I can't remember. There was at least 1 or 2 games I played like that. And the strategy was thick. You know what I mean? It definitely got a little complicated.
Yeah, like I ran out of levels on this game, and I wanted more, and it's just not. It's unfortunate. Well, not really. I mean, it is fortunate, because otherwise I'd still be playing the damn thing.
Then you have your tie back, yeah.
You already killed the stream door?
No, but I can.
My chat went away. Maybe that was just my computer.
So the laptop repair course still a thing? No, Swift, it hasn't been a thing literally for 7 years, is what I'll say. 7 years ago, Steve Cherubino sold it sold laptop repair videos to another guy who only half-heartedly kept it up. He never updated the videos. He said he was going to. The only reason Steve sold it to him was that the guy swore he would update the videos and keep it going. He never updated the videos. He just kept milking sales out of people. Then for 2 years, the member area didn't work, but he kept making sales to it. People kept emailing me why it wasn't working. Finally, 2 years ago, he just let the domain go to where now if you go to laptoprepairvideos.com, which was the domain, it goes to junk. Laptoprepairvideos.com. Yeah. It goes to a placeholder site. Most of them are on YouTube. Steve said you can go look them up all day long if you want. They're literally useless for anything made in the last 8 years because the internals have changed a lot since then. I don't know. And I can't find anybody offering anything even remotely like it these days. Because when people do randomly ask me, I would love to be able to say, hey, these guys' content looks good. Maybe you should check him out. So I can't find anybody offering it, Swift. And they still literally are on torrent sites. If you go to BitTorrent, laptop repair videos, all one word, you can download them all. Bigger bark, really quick.
Nice.
Did you 3D print that?
What do you think?
I think yes.
Okay, ready?
Get out of here.
Yeah, it depends on the quality of print. 'Cause you can see through how there's only like an inch overlap between each part. It was difficult to get that correct because when I printed it the first 5 times, it would only extend a little bit. Now from the base all the way to the hilt, it's 3 feet, I think 6 inches. Really, really happy with it. I can get it a better print, and literally the end of the hilt comes off, and you can replace the blades with any color that you want. And there is a Sith lightsaber, of course, because there has to be. But I don't have black.
That's cool.
It did not come out perfect, is what I'll say, but I do not have a perfect printer. I have a fine printer, is what I'll say. So you can see like right there in the glare, there's like a little divot going up all the way up.
Oh, the seam.
Yeah, which isn't the end of the world. It's just a little seam. And then it's really hard to see. There's a little artifacting right there in the glare.
Can you sand that out?
Yeah. I can. Or if I literally just tightened up the printer settings, it would come out better. But here's the gimmick. My kids have the store-bought ones. If I look close at them, they're junk. You know what I mean? They're complete junk. So I'm not this literally in material cost, the whole thing I want to say was $1.18. Going by a $20 roll for a half a kilogram.
And
Half a
probably
kilo.
a buck worth of electricity.
Yeah. It isn't expensive at all. So yeah, I'm really happy now. Of course, if I was really good, I would make her hack this to have a button right here that when I click it, it will light up an LED that would literally light up the tube. But
Yeah, one of the things I've got on my list of things to do is to woodcraft a handle and then put a plexiglass tube on it with LEDs in it.
Yeah, that's definitely doable.
So is that sound just from the sound of the ridges on the things?
Exactly. Yeah, because it is literally just layers now. Now, I could, if I had a thicker nozzle, print it in vase mode, which would make it more sturdy, yet thinner and less ridges, to where if I had like something really sharp, I mean, there's literally like corduroy sounding. You know what I mean? But yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love it when a print comes off the bed good. But while that print literally cost me $1.60, the actual amount of material it took me to test print to get that thing to come out right was nearly $20.
So how many runs was that? Did you do each of those pieces in a run?
There's 3 ways you can do it. There's the way where this hilt doesn't come off and you print the entire thing in one shot. Or you can print the cap in one, the hilt in one, and you can actually print all of the blades in one shot, at the same time. I opted to separate out each one of the blade segments out just to get a better quality print. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7 different prints. Each one of the blade parts was about an hour. I could have sped it up, but I left it at an hour. The hilt part, I want to say, was less than 5 hours. The cap was about an hour. But I could have virtually doubled the time, but I opted not to just for stability's sake. So yes, some of the prints I've printed here lately, I've been really happy with.
What did I do?
Yeah, I haven't gone down that road yet because I know once I do, there's no going back.
It's just like phones, Mark. Every day you wait to buy, the printers get better quality at a fairer price.
So how do you want me to get you this file if your Nextcloud's down?
If you can put it in Google Drive or OneDrive or anything like that and just shoot me a link or Dropbox or anything, as long as I can download it, it's fine.
You sure you don't have any moral aversion to Dropbox?
I don't care. I really don't care what it is as long as it works. You can host it on Oracle, iCloud, hosted in Russia. I don't care.
What's the mega upload? I'll do that.
Yeah. The Australian guy or New Zealand guy. Actually, I think he's American, but he's in New Zealand. Actually, I think he's in jail now.
Yeah, that's where.
Who is this?
Kim.com.
Yeah. Kim.com.
Uh-huh.
Because he's legal.
I kind of wanted to show you a picture of this shed I'm building, Mark. You like woodworking and whatnot, but I don't know how to do such a thing. Technology.
You could, email it. That's a thing.
Holy smokes!
That would be Josh would have to answer his email.
Hey,
So
now.
As you guys probably know, Avengers Endgame came out on streaming yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday. 2 days ago. Yesterday? Yeah. And in that time, no, 2 days ago. In that time, we have watched Infinity War, then Endgame with the commentary in a day and a half because my kid started school today, so they were home all day yesterday. Right. And my middle one is just a Marvel nut. So it was like 9 hours of Marvel back to back to back.
Sometimes you got to call for a timeout. Just saying.
When do you kids go back to school?
The Honorable Larry Hogan, because I like being a state employee, the Honorable Larry Hogan passed a law that said all schools in the state of Maryland have to start the first working day after Labor Day. Yeah. So, like September, I want to say 3rd. And I tell you, Mark, the more people I talk to outside of Maryland, the more I'm like, it would literally benefit my kids' psyche and mental health if they had all year school. Because like my kids literally tell me how, I love the summer. I can sleep late. I can wake up. I can watch Phineas and Ferbs. I can play video games, but I kind of get bored. And my kids admit to me that they get bored.
They need to talk to that teenager that's living with us right now.
Yeah. No, thank you.
It's unbelievable, man. All day on the couch on his phone.
Yeah.
I'm pasting a Dropbox link in the Hangout store. Make sure it works before
I sent you an email too, Mark. Because I know how to send email.
Cannot be previewed. Download. Direct download. 545 to it looks like 50 megs. It's downloaded.
I recorded in stereo again because I like to hear myself twice. Is there something I can do before I upload it, or you want to just take care of it when it gets there?
I can take care when I get here. There's no, I mean, it isn't work. It literally takes seconds.
I'll iron this out eventually.
That's a nice little shed.
Yeah, thank you.
What is it, like 8 by 10? It's hard to get a sense of scale.
8 by 12.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also 12 feet high at the peak.
I would like to have a shed.
Yeah, I had a 6 by 8 shed that was only 6 feet tall, so I couldn't stand up in it.
Well, I started building this, and it's got the gambrel roof, the barn style,
Watch your
and
language.
and so I put about half of the rafters in for it, and then we were thinking, and when you go inside, it's pretty big, and so we're thinking, well, if we just cut the roof off at half, basically, and then make a little deck, and then you could put a little loft up on the covered side, and you could make it into a pretty sweet little house, actually.
Tiny houses are a thing. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, just like fins on cars, Did we have any suggestions that struck your guys' fancy for show titles? Gotta ask, because I'm really bad at show titles.
BW Electronics said Josh tells everyone to duck off.
Well, I put that in the intro, so
yeah, or just duck off.
you don't want to overdo that.
Yeah, there's enough ducks in there already.
I've already closed the window and I don't remember. Sorry.
Ivor is marked absent.
That's fun.
Yeah, I would just sitting in the tub. I would just have two. I would have the spreadsheet open and just start typing. And the problem with that is that I couldn't figure out a way to just take the list that I had written and copy and paste the entire damn thing into the chat. That's what I had to do. I just typed every single one out in the chat. Good old IRC.
Yeah. Don't worry, Microsoft Teams will kill that. Oh wait.
What are we doing here?
All right, you got my file. I'm out of here.
All right, man.
All right, Mark, that was fun.
Be safe,
Good, guys.
See you in a month.
Is your file uploading?
No, sorry. I will here. I'm just trying to sort it out.
I get paid by the hour.
Yeah, sweet. Trying to sort out what the hell I'm doing. I think I'm going to put it into Google Drive here.
I'm really mad at that hard drive dying on me. It will not even mount. I do the D message in Linux, and it's like sync read errors immediately. It literally just locks the system up for like 3 minutes.
Ah, that sucks. Have you tried SpinRite?
I can't even get spin rate to friggin' boot on any
Really?
of my new devices.
Are you using FreeDOS or
Yeah,
whatever?
I mean, well, I'm burning the ISO. I'm looking at the disk. It looks like it's right. I'm on. Unfortunately, I only have like UEFI systems. I turn on legacy boot and it won't. It won't even boot.
I've got mine on Open DOS, and it's basically I think is it Open DOS where you can just
Yeah.
boot to DOS and then
FreeDOS.
it's free. Is that what it is? Free DOS, and then it's just an exe file inside there, and then just run that. Is the only way that I've ever done it. But I've also used it many times and it's never done a damn thing. So
I don't think it would even be able to see this drive. And it was literally working 3 days ago.
was it backed up?
Would it surprise you if I say no?
was that connected to was that connected to your Nextcloud?
Yeah, it was the Nextcloud.
Oh shit.
It was, unfortunately, in my stupidity, the database for Nextcloud and the data directory for Nextcloud.
Oh, and it wasn't backed up. Man.
It wasn't backed up. But most of the files and folders were being synced off to other computers, which are actually synced up to Google Drive. But the database itself is gone and the master file system is gone.
Mm. Yeah, I've been looking into like lifetime licenses for online backup. So there's usually whatever ones for $60 for 2 terabytes.
Right.
And I don't know what kind of garbage that is though.
Well, it's a question of speed that it becomes. You know what I mean?
Well, basically all I want to do is to be able to back up either Nextcloud or Synology, just encrypt everything and then send it up there to back up. I don't want to use it as a drive or anything. I just want it to back up what I already have. What did I do? The one that I would like, it's called P Cloud. It's 2 terabytes, but that's 350 US for a lifetime license, which is about 450 Canadian. And
it's a touch much.
Hope we don't play that or have that. That was a fun episode, man.
It was good.
Plus, got to talk trash about Ivor without letting him defend himself.
Mm-hmm. He definitely made it easy.
All right, there you go. I just sent you a link in the chat.
Request access.
Oh, did it? What? Do I have to do something else here? Okay. There you go. Should be good.
Okay, so maybe if I do not that. There you go. Download anyway.
Are you still streaming?
Yep.
Okay. Tell you one thing, I was just happy that I brought an app that Mark actually was interested in.
You never can tell. I'll say that. You never know if it's gonna hit that spot or not.
Oh yeah, you wanted contact information too, right?
If you can, yeah.
Yeah. So
130 megs.
yeah.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
I'll say this: I purposely did not want to bring the stuff about Face app. You hear about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I purposely didn't bring it because I believe it's a complete phony story. We don't need to worry about Russia getting selfie pictures of us. They already have it.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, you can't put that cat back in the bag either.
Oh yeah, it's gone. It's gone. Ain't no getting it back.
I just sent there's my website, so I guess you could just put that on there if you want. Where I've been a complete derelict and haven't fucking done anything. Started that Patreon too, so that's getting $5 a month. Thank you for that too, by the way.
Somebody has to be first.
You ever hear from James, Maker James?
Sparingly.
Yep.
He almost had to basically file bankruptcy like a
What?
week ago. He had a lot of people screw him over, not pay him in the
Holy
last
shit.
6-8 months.
Wow.
He got lucky though. He was able to work his way up around it and not completely lose everything. But he's going to have to be, he said, like very careful for the next like 5-6 months and insist any job that he gets designing anything, they have to pay 100% upfront.
Wow. People are ridiculous.
People are jerks.
Yeah.
All right, man. I literally got home like 40 minutes before we did the show, and I had to get everything set up, and I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Yeah, either way.
And I literally looked at the thing. The last time I ate was 11 hours ago, and all day today I had 300 calories.
Well, that's a really good way.
Wait a minute, 500 calories.
It's a really good way to keep your calorie count low, is if you just don't eat.
It sucks.
Cool.
That's
All right,
sucks.
man. Yeah, I gotta go too. I think the chitlin's going to bed, so I'm gonna say goodnight to him.
Very cool. All right, man.
All right, brother. Yeah, we'll be in touch.
I love you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, love you too. Bye.